We have some significant new reporting. The White House evidently directed numerous government agencies, including HUD, SBA, Department of Agriculture, and even the Department of Justice to issue statements on their website explaining the shutdown was caused by Democrats and in some cases the radical left, which seems to be in contravention of federal law. The Hatch Act disallows any politicking by federal employees, including government cabinet members. Now, Public Citizen has already filed 2 complaints, more surely to come, I'm sure, with the Office of Special Counsel regarding these statements. My name is Dina Dahl, and this is the MeidasTouch Network. Let's get into this. Now, these statements were so flagrant and so obvious that Mike Johnson has already been questioned about it. Take a listen.
I think what the HUD website says is the objective truth that we're telling you right now. There are 44 Democrats in the Senate. And by the way, every Democrat in the House except one who voted to shut the government down. They are the ones that made that decision. The White House and the executive branch take no pleasure in this. But when they are tasked with determining what the priorities are, obviously they're going to follow their principles and priorities and not the other team. That's the results of an election that everybody voted in, popular election and electoral college.
Now, the reason for the Hatch Act is, of course, to protect our taxpayer money from interfering in elections, from any campaigning. And that's clearly what these websites are doing. I mean, we've had prior Hatch Act violations and investigations, and a lot of them had to do with maybe specific employees within those organizations and whether or not the statements they took or the actions they took could be seen as campaigning. But having actual government agencies on their website say things that are so obviously campaigning for Trump and the Republicans and MAGA is unprecedented. So let's just take a look. The Department of Justice, the head of the law, the legal justice system in our country, says Democrats have shut down the government. Clearly, again, campaigning. You have the HUD saying it's the radical left. You have the Agricultural Department saying it is the radical left, not even using and pretending to use words that could maybe hide the fact that you're clearly speaking from a campaign point of view. I mean, the radical left is a very extreme description, but this is how far they are going. So much so that even Chris Cuomo, who lately in his interviews maybe hasn't seemed as much consistent, let's say, with the Democratic Party or more pro-liberal points of view, even he in his interview with the head of HUD calls out the fact that this website and the statement of it seems to be such a clear violation of the Hatch Act.
I'm not used to seeing naked political propaganda on a government website. Are you worried about this violating the Hatch Act?
No, sir, we're not worried at all. And this is not about propaganda, Chris. This is just about letting the American people know what's going on. But we really need to be talking about how this government shutdown impacts the American people.
I want to do that, but this is part of the impact, right? I mean, when you're saying the radical left is shutting it down and they're doing it for $1.5 trillion for illegals, that's not true, Secretary Turner. That's why I'm bringing it up, because it's propaganda.
Well, you know what, though, Chris, you look at this, and I've heard all the cries and the outcry and people saying this is propaganda, that it's a violation of the Hatch Act. You know, to me, the Democrats and the far left are using this as a distraction to really deflect from what's really important here. And that's how it's been irresponsible actions on the Hill, and American people are being impacted greatly by this government shutdown. That's what we really need to be talking about.
I agree. I'm sure we also both agree 2 wrongs don't make a right.
Now, Scott Turner may have to rethink what he just said about his agency's website, because Public Citizen just filed a Hatch Act violation against him. This is what they say. Scott Turner, Secretary of Housing and Urban Development, is responsible for postings on the official HUD webpage. The official HUD webpage includes 2 highly partisan postings. One that describes congressional Democrats as, quote, the radical left, seeking to inflict massive pain on the American people unless they get their $1.5 trillion wish list of demands. It then goes on to idolize the Trump administration as working to keep the government open for the American people without attributing any blame for the lack of compromise causing the shutdown. The post is in bold print, 36-inch size, and prominently displayed on the HUD web page and paid for by, yes, tax dollars. The second post is equally as partisan and political in nature, for citing the same derogatory descriptions of current congressional Democrats, blaming solely Democrats for causing the shutdown, and heaping praise for the virtues of Donald Trump in attempting to protect the American people. This time, the post is soaked in blood red color. And Public Citizen also filed a Hatch Act violation against Kelly Loeffler. If you remember her, she was the Senate, at one point, the Georgia senator. She held the position for about a year, and then she lost her seat to Senator Raphael Warnock. Well, evidently, her failing upwards, as privilege would allow, she is the head of the SBA, the Small Business Administration, and they have filed a similar Hatch Act violation against her for the similar type statements the SBA is making. This is alarming. This is sheer propaganda, sheer lies that they are using our government taxpayer money to disseminate and to distribute. Thankfully, we have organizations like Public Citizen immediately bringing these violations, filing complaints around them. Democrats speaking out loudly about it. Of course, one of the loudest and one of the voices who breaks through the noise, Congresswoman Crockett, speaking to this as well.
You know, it's very quiet here on Capitol Hill tonight. What we've seen, though, from the White House is not silence. They are actually, using all of their government websites to say this is Democrats pushing this shutdown. I think we can show you some of those websites showing these messages, blaming Democrats for this shutdown, HUD, DOJ, State Department, Agriculture. Do you think that they're being more effective in their messaging in terms of putting this blame on Democrats?
I think they're being a lot more illegal in their messaging. The first thing that I wanted to know was, how can this not be a violation of the Hatch Act in some way, right? Because we are not allowed to politic on official sites, period, right? And that's what they're doing. They literally changed official government websites to put out their propaganda. Instead of just saying we're currently in a shutdown, you decided to play partisan politics on an official website. And I guess there is no limit to what they won't do, because they do the exact same thing when we walk into committee. Instead of us having real committee hearings where we are actually able to get information that may somehow help the American people understand what's going on, instead it's always a campaign rally that they're doing when we walk into committee, and it's more spewing of their propaganda.
I really enjoyed the OneSkin range of products. They have this great facial moisturizer that I use under my makeup before I do my videos. It is just the right consistency and amount of moisturizer. And then they have this hair serum, which is just great to keep my hair healthy. And they have a derma roller. So that way you can, when you use it, it penetrates your scalp even more. I've been a big fan of derma rollers for years. They're like a great tool for skincare in general. Known for cult favorites like OS1 Body, OS1 Face, and OS1 Eye, OneSkin stands out for their science-first approach, delivering hydration, barrier support, and powerful longevity benefits in a single step. Editors have named OneSkin a brand to watch, with recognition from Fast Company, Mind Body Green, Town & Country, and The Today Show. OneSkin is the world's first skin longevity company, targeting cellular aging to keep your skin and scalp looking and acting younger for longer. For a limited time, you can try OneSkin with 15% off using code MISTRIAL at oneskin.co. That's 15% off oneskin.co with code MISTRIAL. After you purchase, they'll ask you where you found them. Please support our show and tell them we sent you. Try OneSkin today. Your future self will thank you. The legal troubles for Scott Turner and the other agency heads is not limited to the Public Citizen complaints. House Democrats are also calling for an investigation. A top Democrat on the Oversight Committee, Congressman Garcia, has sent a letter to the acting special counsel, Jameson Greer, asking him to launch an investigation into what he calls blatant violations of the law. Now, the reason why there is an acting special counsel is because Trump removed the Biden-appointed head of the Office of Special Counsel in the spring. This is meant to be an independent office and only meant to have a president remove somebody for a cause. But the court allowed Trump to remove that person while the litigation proceeded, something that we have seen over and over again. And we're seeing the very real consequences to this. But the person that Trump appointed to head the Office of Special Counsel was a former right podcaster, Paul Ingrassia, who was so right-wing that he actually couldn't get confirmed by the Senate. So now we have this acting special counsel, which may be a saving grace in this situation, because certainly a confirmed Trump head would not help in this situation. But we have an acting special counsel, and the House Democrat here, Congressman Garcia, is saying, hey, it's not even just the website, but Scott Turner, even in his messages and his talking points, is accusing the, quote, far left Democrats of holding the government, quote, hostage. Again, the Hatch Act specifically making these kind of comments from a federal employee, certainly the head of an agency, unlawful. So the House Democrats also now urging an investigation in addition to public citizen. And what are the consequences of a Hatch Act violation? A minor enforcement, let's say, of minor violations would be something like a suspension. But a major violation, which this certainly would be when you are considering a statement, not just even by the one employee, but the head of the agency, and then statements made on its official website, would be removal of that federal employee. There are even criminal penalties for willful violations of the law, $1,000 fines and criminal penalties. Interesting and important to note also, there are no statute of limitations here, which means that even if this doesn't get litigated now, perhaps it can be further down the line when Democrats get back in charge and have to clean up, frankly, a lot of the mess and unlawfulness of this Trump administration. But that's where this stands. Flagrant, it seems, violations of the Hatch Act by multiple government agencies trying to interfere, campaign, which is not supposed to be done with taxpayer money. And we have public citizen. I'm sure many other complaints can be filed. House Democrats just starting to launch this investigation. Be sure to free subscribe here on MeidasTouch so you can get updates on this case and many others to come.
Love this video? Support independent media and unlock exclusive content, ad-free videos, and custom emojis by becoming a paid member of our YouTube channel today. You can also gift memberships to others. Let's keep growing together.